Hey everyone, have I here been a video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, we're going to be doing the global full breakdown and some fun little team builds for the LR Cell Max. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So I know global players, your pockets are pretty empty, but they had to drop Cell Max before the worldwide celebration because the celebration in of itself is going to be focused on movie bosses. This is an incredibly good movie boss and would have been a huge disadvantage for global players if we weren't able to get this unit. Now, of course, I wanted this unit right after the 9-year anniversary. We end up getting Tech LR UI Goku, but I guess, you know, they're cramming all this stuff in Topo, Tech UI Goku, now Cell Max in this little window of the 9-year anniversary to the worldwide celebration. We have to just live with it, right? So hopefully some of you guys are able to summon for this unit and go ahead and get him, because I think he's going to be very good and very useful for the movie bosses category that we're going to get for worldwide celebration. Anyway, let's dive into the card arts. That's not the card art. Where's the card arts here? Here's the card arts. Let's start with the SSR. I think I mentioned this previously before. I did not like it. It looks very weird. Looks like a smushed down bad action figure. It does have, of course, the SSR LR, you know, white outline glow around it, but it just for some reason doesn't look right to me. I really like the TUR though. Like the TUR generates the action pose, and I think it looks pretty good. However, that LR looks absolutely amazing, especially when it's animated. But ultimately, the Cell Max, I think they did a good job on the look of the unit in terms of the LR. So let's go ahead and break down this unit here. It has good stats, 24,000 in HP, attack is 20,335, and then right under 14,000 for defense. Really strong there. It does have only 150% category lead, and you know, what I've been seeing a lot of people telling me to, you know, show is that we want to use 2 Cell Max. In reality, it does work. So this is for artificial life forms and super bosses. You want to run teams that, of course, have these leader skills. And even though you're running at 150, having 2 Cell Maxes and then the other one at 200% or 170% will work out on very difficult stages, again, because this unit is so strong. The super attack here, the 12 key super attack, is greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes cost of damage to enemy. The ultra super attack is greatly raises attack for 1 turn, causes mega cost of damage to enemy, to all enemies, and then greatly lowers attack and defense. But here's where the highlight of this unit is. The passive skill is very strong here. Activates an entrance animation once only. Attack and defense 100%. Guards all attacks and launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack for 3 turns. That's very important here because it does build up his passive that he has here. I'll talk about that in a second. And then you're only able to get this though if there's another artificial life forms or super bosses category ally on the team. And in reality, they should have just said, hey, all members need to be on one team or the other, because that's kind of how this thing is designed. I kind of found out a little bit more about this limitation. I didn't play this unit that much on JP, just a little bit, enough to say, yeah, this is a great unit, but I didn't realize I was running a full Super Bosses team, and how it's built, you kind of have to have all of the same category in the rotation. And again, I'll just talk about it when it's down here in just 1 second. Anyway, so artificial life form super bosses, that's what you need for the entrance animation. Key +5, attack and defense 300%, which is extremely high, right? Extremely high, unrestricted is just straight up 300%, but you do have a build up here. Key +1 up to 5, 20% attack up to 100% with each attack performed, so that's going to be very, very beneficial. It's not super attacks performs, each attack performed, so that's automatically, if you have this entrance animation active, you got 2 right off the bat. Then additional key +1 up to 5, defense 20% up to 100% with each attack received, so you want to build that as well. That's why you have this guard here for those 3 turns. So you want to put this unit in first position or a position that has a lot of attacks, so you can really build that up. You just need 5 hits. 5 hits on you, you're good to go. But here's the most important piece of the character's kit here, and it doesn't say particularly how it works, but you know what a lot of people have already been telling me, you have to have, you can't mix and match the categories to activate the passive here. And I thought you could, right? Because it just says it says basically plus additional attack, plus additional defense 250%, which is huge, and reduction of damage 30% when all allies attacking in the same turn are artificial life forms, movie bosses, or super bosses category characters. What it's, I guess, saying is it needs to be all one category, this category, or this category. And it can't be like a bunch of artificial life forms, like one artificial life forms and 2 super bosses. It won't trigger. And a lot of people have told me that that's true. So let me know in the comment section below if that is actually right. I haven't tested it out yet. Of course, it's not on global on my main account. But it is interesting that you know, you have to do it that way. It makes this unit a lot more limited, and it's already very limited with the categories it's already on. So again, that's very interesting. So I will build teams. I'll show you the team builds that you can build with Cell Max as also a secondary leader. So you can have 2-on-1 team, and then each one of these categories, well, not movie bosses, but artificial life forms and super bosses. So plus an additional 250% to attack, and a chance to perform a critical hit 30% when there's no superheroes category allies in the same turn. And that's easy, right? Because you don't want super category allies in the same turn. So I would say that happens all the time, because if you do that, this becomes an issue. And then launches additional super attack within the same turn after receiving a super attack. All right. So look at the stat boost, right? There's this huge stat boost, right? You have 100% here, 300%, 250, 250. Very, very strong with damage mitigation. Once you build up, once Cell Max is built up, he is just absolutely amazing. Now, active skill here, Mastery raises attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage to enemy within the turn activated, and then defense 999.9%, 99999, and then redirects all attacks to the character. Basically, you don't die, right? You can get hit as many times with the hardest enemies in the game, super attacks, and you'll be absolutely fine there. But this is only activated when all allies attacking the same turn are artificial life forms or super bosses in the 4th turn, or when all allies attacking in the same turn are extreme class, starting from the 6th turn of the start of the battle. All right. Link skills here: Android Assault, Infighter, Berserker, Big Bad Bosses, Nightmare, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. Not the best Link skills. You do have Big Bad Bosses, which is always important, but some of these other things, it just really doesn't pan out. Now you can run this on movie bosses, androids, artificial life forms, Final Trump Card, Battle of Fate, super bosses. And I'll tell you what, you're not going to be running on Final Trump Card or Battle of Fate, because those are either those are super class units on there, and it's generally none of these artificial life forms, movie bosses, super bosses, you're going to get this amazing defensive boost that you technically need for the harder content. I guess if you're running Cell Max on easier content, you can just care less. You can just run on whatever, and it'll still do incredible damage. So anyway, so basically the weaknesses here are the categories, and of course Yellow Coin LR's leader skills aren't very good. However, you can run 2 Cell Maxes if you want to run with lower leader skills, and it still does work on super hard content. Again, the major point of this is making sure that you are in the same turn using one of these categories, all the same, for you to proc the defense of 250% and the 30% for damage reduction. Either they might change that, because that doesn't make any sense, that you can't have, you know, 2 artificial life forms and a movie boss, or you know, a combination for it to actually activate. But I will build those teams right here in just 1 second. You can go ahead and look at that. And then this active skill is absolutely crazy. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the team build. So the team build here, of course, again, we're going to be using super bosses first. This is using Broly, but only having 1 Broly to get the transformation boost full power, and then the exploding rage movie bosses at 200%. So you're going to have a 200% lead and then 150% lead. So you're going to kind of average out that a little bit, but it does work absolutely fine. So you can run a team like this, where I really enjoy running, you know, STR hit with Cell Max, because of course the buff is crazy. And then with the orb change, if you get enough STR orbs, the 60% support leads here, the support units, they can tank fairly well, right? You know, it's just orb hungry. Speaking of orb hungry, you also have the EZA Broly on the main rotation here, and again, that can help your character get buffed up. But if you don't get 7 orbs, you still might get you might get crushed there. So of course you're gonna have Broly in the 3rd position at the start. Of course, when he transforms and goes into domain, you can move him into a front position here and replace any of these characters here. And I just have 2 other support units with Easy Goku Black and the super bosses, Golden Frieza support. He's actually a great unit as well. Now I did cross out some options for alts because, mentioned before, in the kit you have to have all of those categories in the same turn to activate this here. So all these units here are super bosses, and I crossed off all the individuals that aren't super bosses that you're not technically able to run without activating that damage mitigation and defensive boost. Now if you don't have the STR 60% support hit, then of course you can maybe run a team like this. Right, I just ended up putting Topo on here. You might go, well, why am I running Topo? He doesn't activate his interest animation. He doesn't. And you're also not running in 1st position. You're right, but still, it's a overall good unit as a floater. And then when, of course, he transforms into God Topo, you're all good to go. But if you don't want to run him, you can run some of these other units on here. You can probably put Rose in a 3rd position. Even Jiren if you wanted to. So you do have options and flexibility for a Broly Cell Max split there. And again, you can just run this with Broly as the 2 main leaders at 200% and just 1 cell. But it seems with that 1st position being taken care of, you might just want to keep it this way. Now, of course, you can do the same thing. Actually, I mentioned again here with the Rose on main rotation. On the Rose, you can run Rose as the other super boss's leader as well. So again, this is going to be very similar to each other, but the difference is instead of I think what I have here, instead of Topo, I had Rose on here, which of course works out fine. You have to have him as a leader, but you can use Broly or Rose on this team technically. But you do have limitations on what you can use here in terms of other units. You have a little bit better options with the AGL full power Broly, but again, this might be the team that you might end up running if you don't have the STR hit, which again I just really like to run on there. Another team that maybe you haven't realized that you can run on it and actually still get the boost and buff on there is Gamma 1. Gamma 1 is movie heroes and artificial life forms, and of course artificial life forms is another way to increase and buff up this unit here. Now the biggest issue with this is you're also running this at 170% with 150% for Cell Max as the leader skill, so it's a lot weaker percentage wise right off the bat, comparable to the super bosses leader skills where you're getting 200% on most of the units, and then 150 with Cell Max. Whereas here you can see that you're only getting artificial life forms as the boost because accelerated battle and worthy rivals, that's very limited on there. Fortunately enough, oops, actually I need to put a down arrow on this Boo here. Fortunately enough, Kid Boo has accelerated battle for some apparent reason, and he actually gets a 200% boost from Gamma 1. But then again, the rest gets 150%. So a little bit weaker team, but still a optional team that you can run for quote-unquote artificial life forms. I'm guessing we might in the future get a really strong artificial life forms category. I thought this Boo was actually artificial life forms. I was like, oh wait a minute, he's not artificial life forms. That would have been actually really good if this Fat Boo was artificial life forms leader. That would have been really interesting to run that team and to have that team going on here. But again, these are teams that you're running with Cell Max as the secondary leader on there, whereas you can maybe run something like this with the 2 Roses and have most of this team at 200% versus versus having Cell Max as a secondary leader. But again, most people are really liking the secondary leader skill and having 2 Cell Maxes, much like, you want to run 2 Beast Gohans, you want to run 2 Cell Maxes, but very limiting, more limiting than I actually thought Cell Max was based off of the remaining portion of the passive here. Again, who knows if they will adjust that, but learning that was like, oh, you know, some people are saying this is like a really top high-end unit, but it's very limiting. If you can actually get the correct team where he can perform, he's going to be absolutely incredible. But until then, you know, you do have to watch out. You have to be careful. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video here. Good luck on your summons. When I'm recording this video, he should be dropping later on tonight. And yeah, anyway, with that, again, thank you all for watching. If you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time. Later.